People are hating their lives right now. They are working, they are making minimum payments, and watching their balances barely move. Some owe like $20,000 in credit card debt. Some owe 30,000. Some owe more, and interest just keeps stacking. These content creators show just how bad credit card debt has become recently, and I want you to take a look.
But I have been financially not doing great. I am a nurse. Even though I am a nurse and I make good money, I don't have money, which is the sad part because of the choices that I've made still currently and the choices that I've made like previously, like from a couple of years. I am in credit card debt, and it's this unhealthy cycle that I have been putting myself into, and this just relationship with money has just never been something that I was talked about. Lifestyle creep is definitely a thing, and especially when you are trying to make a brand for yourself, when you're aspiring to do something that you want to do, and content creation has been something that I've always wanted to do. Being a YouTuber has always been something I want to do. I've always just wanted to be on camera. I've always just wanted to make a name for myself, whether it be like through content creation, being a YouTuber, being an entrepreneur, like whatever it may be. I always felt like I was meant to do something other than nursing. And so I think for years I have been continuously like, going with the trends and like, buying whatever everyone else buys so that like I can post about it and like, be seen. But then I get caught up with imposter syndrome of not being enough. For in order for me to become someone, I guess I was influenced by everyone else around me. So if I bought the next best thing, or if I like looked a certain way by buying these clothes, then I was gonna make an image, a brand for myself. And that turned into like so many like dumb purchases like along the way that I'm like literally paying for now. And don't get me wrong, I have been trying to get myself together when it comes to my finances, because obviously like I have money to pay my bills. I have money to like pay down the minimums on my credit cards. But a lot of the times I don't take into account like, money like for myself and money to, just enjoy life. And most of the time like I'm struggling to even do that. So I think I've reached my breaking point. Enough is enough. Like living paycheck to paycheck, living with like the credit card debt and like the afterpays and everything, like I'm done. Like I'm so done. I want to be financially free. Like I don't want to have to worry about like, if I'm gonna be able to eat. I just don't want to be in this cycle anymore, because it's like I want to travel, I want to buy a house, I want to get married, like all of these things. Like it's just like it's not possible until I take this step of paying off my debt. And not just paying off my debt, but like being financially literate and just understanding you can't always have your wants. You have to prioritize like your needs. And sometimes like I rationalize like my needs, my wants, to make them seem like their needs. And I just need to get out of this toxic like mindset. Like it sucks. And I'm not making this an excuse, but I guess like impulsivity and like shopping addiction is part of ADHD. And sometimes I hate it. Like sometimes I like get mad at myself for having this ADHD and is the reason why I'm in this situation. But at the same time, it's like I need to remember, what can I do now to just like get myself out of this hole. So the reason I'm crying on the internet is to show people that like seriously, like do not like, I understand that I'm trying to be an influencer, I'm trying to be a content creator, and that goes with like promoting products, but like literally live within your means and only buy like if you have the money for it. Stop Klarnaing, stop affirming, stop afterpaying, like stop just swiping the credit card, because like, yeah, it may be fun like in the moment, but literally you will regret it if that stuff like just racks up and it's like years down the line and you're still paying for that purse that you bought like 4 years ago. Life is too freaking short for us to be paying money on stuff that we bought like a couple years ago. Life is too short for us to be paying for materialistic things. Instead, we should be paying for experiences, for like adventures and whatever it may be, like for new life like chapters. And I don't know. Buying the next best thing is not worth your mental health. Buying the next best thing is not worth the emotional and financial burden that you're going to experience if you can't pay it off right away. If you're watching this and you are also in the same boat, like, you are not alone. This stuff is hard to navigate, and not a lot of people like talk about the realness about being in credit card debt or like even student loans. Like, I don't even want to think about like the student loans that I have and like my car loan. Like, that's another thing in itself. But if you're watching this all the way through, the one thing that I can say is that if you're going into 2025 with debt, specifically credit card debt, please make a plan to like get out of it, because I know I am, because I can't do it anymore. It's not cute anymore to just put it on the credit card or like I'll do some installment payments. It's not cute anymore. You're gonna continue these habits, and it's gonna take you so much longer to, one, pay for it, but two, unlearn those habits of impulse spending.
I have a total of 5 credit cards that I need to pay off, and starting from smallest to biggest, the first one is my Freedom credit card. I owe $1,500 exactly.
Smallest to biggest?
Capital One. I owe $4,448.
Okay, so we're at
Next card is Best
6,000.
Buy. I owe $5,650 exactly. My fourth credit card is with Chase, and I owe $6,750. And last but not least, my Discover credit card. This is the one that I owe the most on, and the total balance right now is $11,159.
Oh man, that's a car. That's a nice car.
A total of $29,485. I started off at $31,000.
It's a down payment on a house.
I am making the decision to get myself out of this position because I am 25 years old and I do not plan to carry this debt into my 30s. I want to be a financially responsible person.
I like that.
I am 28 years old and I have $37,523.46 in debt. You're probably wondering why I'm sharing such personal information on the internet. I love watching people's debt payoff journeys here on TikTok. It is so inspirational. It just makes me feel not alone. So that's number one. And number two, it's a great way to keep me accountable for actually paying off this debt. I plan to pay that off by the time I turn 30, which is in 1 year and 9 months. Of that, $6,946.92 is credit cards. $6,000 of that is a personal loan, which is a really stupid decision, but that's okay. There's no shame here. $2,496.61 of that is back taxes, and $22,079.93 is school loans. If you are interested in me paying this off, definitely follow along. I'm also going to be posting each time I get paid, like how much I pay toward my debt, what exactly I'm paying off first, all of that good stuff. For years I just have been paying like minimums, and I finally realized like I'm not honoring my future self by the action that I'm putting in towards my financial goals. And 2024, this is the year. So to be able to be 30 years old and be debt free, I can't even imagine the weight that will be lifted from my shoulders. And I hope that with me sharing this journey, it will inspire you to go full force with your own debt payoff journey and help you feel not alone, because having debt can be one of the most, at least for me, it's filled with so much shame, and I can do a whole series around shame and money and debt and all of that, and maybe I should include that in all of the things I'm going to share. But you're not alone. So many people are in debt, and it's a normal thing, but we also are in control of our spending, and all of that stuff. So I'm excited to share. I'm nervous because this actually means that I have to do it. I'm gonna do it. I want to do it, and follow me along for the journey.
How do some of y'all have $27,000 in credit card debt? I just want to know.
Years ago, I was in $60,000 of credit card debt, so I'll tell you exactly how that happened because I also never thought that I would get there, and it really does happen kind of fast. So the number one factor for me was the fact that I had so much anxiety and shame around money that I would actively avoid my finances. Like, I couldn't even look at my bank account, let alone sit down and make a budget. So all this in money advice and how to get yourself out of debt and whatever was kind of irrelevant to me, because if I couldn't even get myself to the computer to like open my bank account, I couldn't do the rest of it. And because I didn't have a budget and was avoiding my finances, it was really easy for me to not know how much I was spending month to month on like subscriptions and various expenses that you accumulate over time. Plus, this was like the worst mental health period of my life. So my ADHD was rearing its ugly head, and I was impulse spending. I also just had a very nihilistic attitude of like, it doesn't even matter, whatever, I'll just deal with it later. But the thing that you don't realize when you first start getting into credit card debt is how quickly the interest compounds over time. And this is how you can go from having like $8,000 in credit card debt to $27,000 or $60,000 or whatever it is, because all of your cash is now going to two things. It's going to rent, maybe a few different utilities payments that you can't put on a credit card. It's going to your minimums, right? And your minimums on your credit cards are growing every single month, even if you don't put a single new charge on that credit card. So when all of your cash is going to your credit card minimums, or even paying off a little bit more than your minimums to try to like get ahead, you're still having to put a lot of your purchases on credit cards because you're out of cash. So that, combined with the money avoidance, to me was this perfect storm of like, I just didn't know how quickly debt would accumulate once it started. Like, once the ball started rolling, it gets away from you really fast. So the question is not how does someone end up with that much debt? The question is like, what are the patterns that got you into debt in the first place and that are keeping you from dealing with the debt? Because those are going to be the same patterns that turn this into like a wildfire that spreads really quickly. I actually have a step-by-step process for dealing with your money anxiety and your fear of looking at your bank accounts if that's something you resonate with. So comment below and I will send it to you.
I want to show you something or talk about something that genuinely made me angry as a young person when I first understood it. So for a lot of people, they might know this, but a lot of people don't understand how credit card debt works. So I want to talk about that. So say you have $5,000 in credit card debt at a 20% interest rate, right? If you only pay the minimum payment every month, which is usually around like 2% of your balance, you will be paying that debt off for 20 years. And you will pay close to $8,000 in interest alone on $5,000. Okay, more than double. The minimum payment exists to benefit the credit card company, full stop. It is the least amount that they can legally require you to pay while maximizing how much interest they can collect from you over time. The fix is not really complicated, but it does require something, like understanding what is actually happening. Every dollar that you pay above your minimum payment goes directly towards your principal, which is the actual debt. That means even an extra $25 or $50 a month can cut years off your payment timeline and saves you thousands of dollars. You're not bad with money if you've been paying minimums. Nobody taught you this likely. If you have good enough credit, and I would say above 650, and you have a good chunk of credit card debt, like $4,000 to $8,000 or more, let's say, I would highly recommend you transfer that debt to a 0% interest balance transfer card. You can find these that have a year to 18 months of interest-free transfers. So you can transfer all of your high interest credit card debt between 4 or 5 cards, whatever it is, to one card, one payment, no debt, no interest. I've done this in the past, highly recommend. If you can't do that, if your credit's not good enough and you're in debt, try to make at least $20 or $10. Anything above the minimum payment will literally save you years and thousands of dollars in interest.
The credit card purchase. If you purchase something for $1,000 with interest, time, and the minimum payment, the real cost winds up equaling $1,500 to $2,000, almost double than what you actually paid for it. This book, Breaking Free, exposes debt and shows you how to escape. comment escape, and I'll send you the link.
Do not pay your next credit card bill until you know this secret. Hey, credit card company, I can't afford to make the minimum payments on my cards anymore. Are there any options for me? Absolutely not. We're a credit card company. You really think there are options? Actually, there are. I can work with a debt relief company who will negotiate with you on my behalf to lower the total amount that I owe. Okay, you're right. But it's not that simple. Debt relief takes time. I know. Most qualified customers pay off all of their credit card debt in just 2 to 4 years. Yeah. How did you know about this? I went to findmyrelief.org and they matched me with a debt relief company. I really hope no one sees this.
A woman just went viral for paying off $12,000 of credit card debt with ChatGPT. And the whole story made me mad. Not at her, but at ChatGPT. Let me explain. This story is everywhere. Good Morning America, ABC, every news outlet ran it. Jennifer Allen had a $23,000 debt that she held on a credit card and did a 30-day ChatGPT challenge and suddenly paid off $12,078 in a single month. Good for her. She got out a major chunk of that debt. But here's the breakdown the media isn't showing you. $10,200 of that $12,000 came from a forgotten brokerage account that her husband actually reminded her existed after ChatGPT told her to check old financial apps. Another $100 came from Venmo, $51 came from selling a photo of a watermelon on eBay, and the rest was just canceled subscription money. Every news outlet runs the headline. ChatGPT paid off $12,000 of debt in 30 days. The problem is they're teaching millions of people the wrong lesson. AI didn't make her any money. She liquidated a $10,000 asset she already owned. And most people in credit card debt do not have a forgotten brokerage account just sitting around. That's the part that's getting buried. Here's the part that you actually should be mad about, just like I am, is that ChatGPT never told her the 3 real moves that would have killed that debt. Move 1, transfer her balance to a 0% APR card, such as the Wells Fargo Reflect right now that's giving you 21 months at 0% interest. On 12 grand of debt, that is potentially thousands of dollars in interest that she's still paying on. Move number 2 is call Amex or Chase and ask for the hardship program. Almost nobody knows it exists. They have a real internal program that can pause interest, lower payments, sometimes both. Move 3, just ask for a lower interest rate. LendingTree did a study last year, and 83% of people who called their credit card company and asked for a lower APR got one. The average reduction was about 6 percentage points, by the way. The reason ChatGPT didn't tell her any of this, it doesn't know her specific creditors. It doesn't know which 0% offer she qualifies for, and the hardship programs aren't published anywhere that it can scrape. AI is great at telling you to check old apps. It's not great at the actual phone calls that can change your financial life. So if you've got real credit card debt, yeah, ask ChatGPT to help you find old money. That part works. Then go make the 3 phone calls it'll never recommend.
I was never taught financial responsibility, and at 25, I accumulated $12,000 in credit card debt. And now at 27, I'm completely credit card debt free, and my credit score went up 200 points. So here's everything I've learned along the way that wasn't taught to me as a child, and I had to learn when I put myself in this hole. So number 1, credit cards are a resource. You should not be using a credit card unless you have that money in your account to pay it off every single month. I understand that there's situations like emergencies, whatnot, but I got into the trap of thinking that my credit card limit was money that I would have. I thought that I could spend $3,000 and I would just be able to pay it off no problem. Once you start racking up those numbers, you're only paying off the minimum and you're accruing interest, you are going to put yourself deeper and deeper into that hole. However, I look at credit cards as my resource because I use Capital One. It's one of my favorite credit cards right now, where I use my credit card for certain spendings and I earn back points through traveling, through Capital One shopping, but now I'm sure to pay that off. If you are struggling with debt, I highly suggest that you lock your credit card so you're unable to spend on it. I locked my cards, I stopped spending on them, and I focused on the avalanche method, which is my next tip. So you can either use the avalanche method or the snowball method to pay off debt. I personally like the avalanche method because interest rates on credit cards are disgusting and they will get you. So what I did was I had 2 different credit cards open. So I transferred one of my highest interest debts to a no interest credit card that allowed me to pay it off within 15 months. I paid this off off in 12 months. Now with my other card, it was still high interest. So I focused on the avalanche method of paying the max amount possible to the high interest credit card and paying off the no interest credit card slowly. I just wanted to get rid of it, so I chose the avalanche method. Number 3, you need to learn how to live under your means. I got caught up in this life where I thought money came back to me and money did this. I was not working hard enough for that money to come back to me. I was being irresponsible. I was living above my means and doing things that I shouldn't have been doing to put myself in a good financial place. When you have credit card debt, you need to revert back to living under your means and paying off as much as you can. So I learned to be a minimalist. I stopped the overconsumption. I would use products all the way until they were empty. I wouldn't have multiple of the same makeup products. I wouldn't go out and buy clothes for an event. I was wearing the same clothes I had, and I took like a year off shopping. I did not shop for anything. I lived so below my means because my priority was to pay off this credit card debt. That is so hard in the era of overconsumption. If you struggle with this, I urge you to get off social media and realize you don't need everything that they're selling to you on their Amazon storefront. Number 4, say no. Say no to plans. You're gonna have to say no to vacations. You're gonna have to say no to that $1,500 trip up to the mountains. I know it sucks, but think about the fact that this is just a year or two of your life, maybe in a couple months, and you will never have to go through this again once you pay it off and you become responsible. Now, with that being said, one of the things that I tried to do in the beginning of paying this off was work on savings at the same time I was paying off my debt. I don't recommend you do that. Now I've learned to pay off your debt because it's not a flex to have thousands of dollars in a savings account when you have thousands of dollars in debt. So what I've done now that I am completely debt free is that I have switched all of my savings account to high yield savings accounts where I accrue, I think it's 4.6% APY, so I'm accruing interest every single month for my balance in there. Now I have multiple different savings accounts. I have my 401 and my Roth IRA through work, so that's already taken care of somewhere else. Then I have my standard checking account, which is where my deposits come in, where I'm paid. I have a separate checking account, which is for my auto expenses. These are student loans. This is rent. This is utilities. I separate out that money right away every single time I get paid. Then I have 3 savings accounts. One of them is an emergency for, God forbid, any emergencies, job loss, whatever, 4 to 6 months worth of expenses. I have a car fund because I want to buy a car outright. I don't want a car payment. And then I have vacation sinking funds, shopping sinking funds. So doing all of this, the emergency fund is your safety net. The car fund and the other sinking funds are basically already putting money aside every single week. So when I want to go on that expensive vacation, when I want that expensive treat, whether it's a bag, clothes, I already have the money there for it. I'm not pulling out my money from my paychecks because I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want my money to earn me travel points. I want my money to earn me more money. You have to be smart with your money to make it in this world, and that was something I was never taught. So I hope that this helps someone else, and I hope that it reminds you to never accrue credit card debt because it is one of the dumbest things that you can do in your life.
So today I got the urge to talk about how I paid off $23,000 in debt in 6 months. First of all, nobody knew that I had debt. I had to deal with it all by myself. Mind you, I had this debt since I was 20 years old. I think as soon as I turned 18 or 19, I got approved for like a $25,000 credit card. 2023 was a hard year, so I ended up maxing it out. Mind you, I'm fresh out of high school, and I don't know nothing about life. I don't know who I am yet, I'm not going to college, and I don't got no money. So I held on to that debt for like 2.5 years. In the midst of me having my debt, I got my CDL when I turned 21. That first year, I ain't made no money. I could barely hit my minimum payments. I even left trucking to get other jobs, and I still wasn't able to pay it off. But something told me to go back to trucking. I already had a little bit of experience under my belt so I could get a better job. Luckily, I got blessed with a 6-figure job, bringing home $2,000 a week after taxes. When I got that job, I took the opportunity to actually pay off my debt. I did not increase my lifestyle. I ain't buy nothing cute. I got right into paying off my debt. So every check I was getting, I was putting $1,500 into my card every week. I have to clarify that before this, I called my bank and they lowered my interest rate from like 26% to 3% for a year. And they took my card limit from $25,000 to $23.5. So I had to leverage that 3% interest rate and $23.5 to pay off instead of $25.
And now I can successfully say that it's done. I don't gotta worry about it no more. But now that the debt is gone, I'm continuing to treat my money like I have debt, but instead of putting the money into the credit card, I'm putting the money into a high yield savings account. In a future video, I'm gonna talk about what my debt taught me and how it changed me and made me become a man.
As you can see, people are getting trapped by high interest and minimum payments. There's no quick fix. The people who get out are the people who pay more than the minimum consistently. Tell me in the comments what I should tackle next. Love you guys.